Do you remember the smell of your grandmother's kitchen on Christmas morning? Cinnamon and nutmeg drifting through the house, mixing with butter and vanilla in ways no modern candle can recreate. Those weren't just recipes, they were traditions passed down through generations, each dish carrying stories of Christmases past. Today, we're bringing back 25 forgotten Christmas recipes from our grandparents' era, the ones that disappeared when convenience replaced craftsmanship.
Remember opening that wooden box and that intense almond smell hitting you? Those tiny, perfect fruits, hand-painted so realistically, you'd hesitate before biting into miniature apples, pears, and oranges? Odin's marzipan from Denmark cost $2.95 a pound back in 1960. About $32 today. Always expensive, always considered the most luxurious Christmas gift you could give. Those dense, smooth little sculptures were almost too beautiful to eat, so they'd sit there as decorative centerpieces while we debated whether to ruin the artistry. The almond paste flavor was intensely sweet, too adult for most American kids, and over time, they'd harden into little rocks we'd eventually throw away with guilt. Today's mass-produced chocolates can't match that edible artistry. That precious European tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember visions of sugar plums danced in their heads from that old poem? But did you ever know what they actually were? Not plums at all, but coriander seeds and almonds coated in 50 to 100 layers of sugar, applied daily over 2 to 3 weeks by artisan confectioners. Only wealthy families could afford them in the 1800s. They were that precious, that labor-intensive, medieval candy making at its finest. Marble-sized, smooth, glossy, multicolored, they'd dissolve slowly over 10 to 15 minutes in your mouth, sweet exterior giving way to intense spice at the core. 1 sugar plum per child on Christmas Eve, and you'd make it last as long as possible because that was all you'd get. Today's mass-produced candies can't match that weeks-long devotion. That mysterious medieval treasure has disappeared completely. Remember those mason jars lined up in your grandmother's pantry from August, waiting patiently until December? Golden peaches glowing in thick amber syrup that smelled like summer and Christmas combined. She'd make them during peach season, label each jar with the date, then age them 6 months until they were ready. This was preservation tradition from the 1850s through the 1960s, requiring fresh peaches, good brandy, and patience nobody has anymore. Opening that first jar was a ceremony, the boozy, spiced, fruity smell escaping while that sticky golden syrup ran onto your plate alongside ham or turkey. Some families served it with vanilla ice cream for dessert, debates erupting over which year had the best crop, while neighbors received jars as premium gifts. Today's canned Del Monte peaches can't match that summer to Christmas devotion. That patient preserving tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember that thick white layer of powdered sugar? More sugar than bread, visible on your German grandmother's Christmas loaf that she'd started preparing back in November? She'd wrap it in cloth, feed it with melted butter every Sunday after church, letting it age in the cool pantry for 3 to 4 weeks. Dresden Stollen cost $8.95 back in 1965, about $95 today for the imported version, but hers was homemade with a 3-day process. When she finally sliced it Christmas morning, that hidden log of yellow marzipan revealed itself in the center, the shape symbolizing baby Jesus wrapped in a cloth. Dense, heavy, loaded with candied fruits and that intense cardamom smell, served in thin slices with strong coffee, while she spoke of old country recipes being superior. Today's supermarket Christmas bread can't match that weeks-long devotion. That patient German ritual has disappeared completely. Remember that deep, dark, sweet smell of Brer Rabbit molasses boiling to 260 degrees, filling the entire house while your mother poured it onto that buttered marble slab? The whole Christmas party would participate, forming pairs with buttered hands, pulling that sticky mass for 20 to 30 minutes until your arms burned and the taffy transformed from dark brown to golden. 45 cents a jar back in 1950 for that molasses, about $7 today. Singles got forced together in obvious matchmaking while everyone laughed, talked, competed informally over who were the best pullers, finally cutting it into pieces while still warm. Kids would eat theirs immediately, fingers slippery with butter, while the final pair to finish got crowned champions until next year's party. Today's passive TV-watching gatherings can't match that active, exhausting fun. That energetic Christmas tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember pushing up that cardboard bottom to eat it? That simple mechanism felt like pure magic while you walked home from the bakery with your grandmother on Saturday mornings. White cardboard cups with lady fingers forming walls around pale yellow Bavarian cream. Whipped cream on top with a cherry, no plate needed. 25 cents each back in 1950, about $4 today, chosen carefully from the glass display case at the corner bakery. You'd compete to see who could eat theirs without dropping any. Fingers covered in cream and whipped cream, that silky smooth texture melting on your tongue while the spongy lady fingers soaked up everything. Horn and Hard Art automats in New York were famous for them until the last one closed in 1991, taking this elegant French dessert with it. Today's prepackaged dessert cups can't match those special Saturday outings. That cherished push-up tradition has vanished completely. Remember that spiced steam rising from your Swedish grandfather's copper pot? Cardamom, clove, and cinnamon in red wine so dark it looked almost purple? He'd sing carols in Swedish while serving it hot in those special porcelain mugs brought from the old country, with a plump raisin and almond waiting at the bottom. We'd toast "Skål" before drinking, back when Scandinavian communities in Minnesota and Wisconsin kept this alive through the 1970s. That aquavit was essential, not optional, and finding it became impossible by the 80s, while the hot alcohol hit fast, making everyone cheerful within minutes. You'd eat that boozy raisin and almond with a spoon after finishing, a ritual as sacred as the drink itself, served after caroling in the snow. Today's instant cocoa packets can't match that warming immigrant tradition. That beloved Scandinavian ceremony has vanished completely. Remember rolling that dough paper thin, so thin you could see light through it, while your Pennsylvania Dutch grandmother supervised every move with those critical eyes? The dough had to be just right, not too warm, not too cold, or it wouldn't work. And you'd paint each cookie with egg white, using an actual brush before sprinkling coarse sugar. The Pennsylvania Dutch Cookbook from 1935 had the definitive recipe. It sold 500,000 copies before going out of print in the 80s. Those delicate stars and hearts would shatter if you breathed wrong. Stored carefully in tins lined with wax paper, served only to the most special guests because they took 2 full days to make. Pure butter and sugar, so crispy they dissolved on your tongue, each one a testament to patience we don't have anymore. Today's thick, sturdy cookies can't match that fragile artistry. That paper-thin tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember those translucent ribbons catching the light from the Christmas tree like edible stained glass? You'd put them in a clear glass bowl on the coffee table, more decoration than food, because they were too beautiful and too sharp to actually eat. 50 cents a pound back in 1950 from Richardson's in Massachusetts, about $6 today. When you finally bit down, it snapped loud enough to startle everyone, cutting the roof of your mouth with those razor-sharp edges while intense wintergreen or cinnamon flooded your senses. Your grandparents were the only ones brave enough to eat them, while we kids just admired how the red, green, and white spirals danced in the tree lights. Today's mass-produced hard candies can't match that hand-pulled artistry. That fragile Christmas treasure has disappeared completely.
Remember when Christmas morning meant the smell of fresh nutmeg being grated at 6 a.m.? Your grandfather would fire up that old Sunbeam Mixmaster, separating eggs with practiced hands while the whole house filled with spice in anticipation. 10 minutes of beating egg whites until they formed glossy peaks in those heavy, yellow ceramic bowls. That creamy foam stuck to your upper lip like a mustache, while steam rose from white porcelain mugs with gold rims. This wasn't just a drink. It was the Midwest morning ritual from the 30s through the 60s, served in practically every household for $1.95 worth of ingredients, about $30 today. Today's instant eggnog from a carton can't match that sacred ceremony. That precious Christmas morning tradition has vanished completely. Can you still hear that rhythmic chopping sound? Beef suet on a wooden cutting board, knife hitting wood over and over while your British grandmother prepared Christmas dinner. 6 to 8 hours of steaming filled the house with fog, windows dripping condensation while that dark pudding cooked in its muslin cloth tied with string. When it finally emerged, almost black and glistening with fat, dense enough to be a weapon at 15 cents a pound back in 1945, about $2.50 today. You'd check the water level every hour like it was your sacred duty, waiting for that moment when she'd flambe it with brandy, blue flames dancing in the darkened dining room. Today's instant desserts can't match that all-day commitment. That patient Christmas ritual has disappeared completely.
Remember that strange, wonderful smell of beef cooking with cinnamon and cloves filling your grandmother's kitchen every November? She'd clamp that manual meat grinder to the table while you cranked the handle, watching ground beef and raisins spiral out together into mason jars destined for the basement. 89 cents for Nonsuch brand in 1955, about $10 today. When she sliced it at Christmas dinner, dark juice ran onto the plate while that thick slice of sharp cheddar melted on top. Back in 1940, 73% of American families served this at Christmas. It wasn't optional, it was tradition. Today's fruit-only versions can't match that medieval complexity of sweet and savory dancing together. That authentic medieval tradition has vanished completely. Remember pure vanilla extract? Not that fake stuff, filling your mother's kitchen while she stood at the stove for 45 minutes straight? Her arm would ache from constant stirring, but she couldn't stop, or the whole batch would curdle in that double boiler. Pet Dairy sold it for $1.29 a quart back in 1970, about $18 today. That pale yellow color caught the light in those thin crystal glasses that only came out at Christmas, silky smooth going down your throat while you licked the pan afterward. Your grandmother would test it with her pinky finger, a technique passed down through generations, declaring it ready when it coated the spoon just right. Today's carton eggnog can't match that hour of devoted attention. That Southern Christmas staple has disappeared completely.
Remember checking the weather forecast before your mother would even attempt making divinity? Humidity had to be under 50% or the whole batch was doomed before it started. You'd hear that sugar syrup boiling at 260 degrees, dangerous bubbles popping and hissing, while the mixmaster beat egg whites for 15 straight minutes until your ears rang. Pure white clouds with pecans pressed on top, sold in decorative tins
for $2.95 a pound back in 1965, about $28 today. That exterior turned crispy, while the inside stayed soft like marshmallow, dissolving slowly on your tongue. Today's store-bought candies can't match that gamble with weather and timing. That temperamental Christmas tradition has vanished completely. Remember opening the pantry and that brandy smell hitting you all year long? Your grandfather would unwrap his fruitcake every Sunday after church, brush it with more cognac, wrap it back in that cheesecloth stained dark brown. $4.95 for a 2-pound Claxton fruitcake in 1960, about $50 today. He'd started in January for next Christmas, feeding it weekly like a living thing while it sat in that metal tin hidden in the high cabinet. When he finally sliced it, dense as a brick, those colorful candied fruits glistening inside, only the adults would eat it while we kids made faces at the boozy smell. Today's dry, store-bought versions can't match that year-long labor of love. That patient, sacred tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember that confusing smell of black pepper mixed with sugar and spices in your German grandmother's kitchen every November? She'd speak German while rolling hundreds of tiny balls by hand, hard as rocks at first, stored in those vintage tins. Keebler sold them for $1.49 a package back in 1975, about $10 today. After weeks in that tin, they'd transform into something magical, moist, intensely aromatic, with that white powdered sugar coating sticking to your fingers. The whole family formed an assembly line, rolling and decorating, while cardamom and anise filled the air with scents most American kids had never encountered. Today's bland sugar cookies can't match that peppery complexity. That German Christmas tradition has disappeared completely. Remember that metallic sound of the can opener on Del Monte mandarin oranges? The signal that Christmas dinner was getting serious? Your mother would layer them with miniature marshmallows and shredded coconut in that clear glass bowl, so proud of how sophisticated it looked. This was 1960s elegance, introduced right after Kraft launched those mini marshmallows in 1955. You'd serve it in individual glass dishes with a maraschino cherry on top, vibrant orange against pure white, while those marshmallows absorbed liquid and turned gummy. We kids would fish out only the mandarins, leaving everything else untouched, but the adults defended it fiercely as modern and refined. Today's fresh fruit salads can't match that space-age optimism. That beloved retro tradition has vanished completely. Remember coming home from midnight mass at 1 a.m., freezing cold, and that strong ocean smell hit you the moment you opened the door? The pot was already warming on the stove, gray oysters slipping into hot milk with butter while premium crackers floated on top. Fresh oysters cost $1.89 a pint back in 1965, about $18 today. You'd crumble those crackers right into the creamy broth, fishing out the slippery oysters while your grandparents ate big bowls with satisfaction we couldn't understand. Catholic rules said no meat on Christmas Eve, so this was the tradition. Ocean salty, buttery, served in deep white bowls at 1 in the morning. Today's 24-hour drive-thrus can't match that sacred midnight ritual. That beloved Christmas Eve tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember that rhythmic sound of crushing Nilla wafers in a plastic bag with a rolling pin, while Four Roses bourbon filled the kitchen with its unmistakable smell? Your mother's hands would get sticky rolling those little balls, hiding the finished tin in the back of the fridge where we kids couldn't reach. Ruth's bourbon balls in Louisville made them famous from 1919 until they closed in 2005. The recipe was right there on the Nilla wafer box until 1995. They removed it when the anti-drinking movement took hold. Your aunts would whisper, "It has real bourbon," while serving them, and the men would eat several, getting a little buzz going while we wondered why adults loved them so much. Today's alcohol-free treats can't match that grown-up indulgence. That boozy Southern tradition has disappeared completely. Remember those bright red cranberries bouncing across the kitchen floor? Because they always escaped while your grandfather clamped that manual meat grinder to the table? You'd hold the bowl underneath while he fed whole oranges, peel and all, through with the berries, dark red juice spiraling out. This wasn't the jellied stuff Ocean Spray started selling in the 1950s to kill this exact tradition. That raw, chunky texture was intensely tart with bitter notes from the orange peel, served in small glass dishes next to the turkey, while we kids refused it completely. The adults insisted it was necessary for proper Christmas dinner, arguing over how many oranges to use while cranberries rolled under the refrigerator. Today's smooth, canned jelly log can't match that fresh, aggressive bite. That hand-cranked Christmas ritual has vanished completely.
Remember that heavy aluminum Miro cookie press, cold metal in your hands, fighting with temperamental dough that never wanted to cooperate. Your mother would load it up, switching between those metal discs, trees, stars, hearts, while almond extract made the whole kitchen smell like Christmas heaven. $4.95 back in 1960, about $50 today, and it came with dozens of shapes we'd argue over. Dough too soft wouldn't work, too stiff wouldn't work. And when it finally cooperated, those buttery cookies emerged perfect with their ridges and curves before we decorate them with colored sugar and candied cherries. The deformed ones got tested immediately while they were still warm, crumbling at the slightest touch, tasting like pure butter and almonds. Today's slice and bake convenience can't match that hard-won victory. That press cookie tradition has disappeared completely.
Remember groups of carolers arriving at your door, cold and singing, getting invited in for that amber gold punch steaming in the big porcelain bowl? Your mother would ladle it out, hot cider mixed with ale and spices, broken pieces of roasted apple floating on top, while everyone sang those old songs most people have forgotten. This medieval tradition lasted from the 1600s through the 1960s before door-to-door caroling died completely. You'd fish out those soft apple pieces while cinnamon and cloves warmed you from the inside, that slightly fermented taste mixing sweet and tart in ways store-bought cider never could. Each family added their own secret spices, debating whose wassail was most authentic, while the silver ladle passed from hand to hand in the crowded living room. Today's instant cider packets can't match that communal warmth. That welcoming Christmas tradition has vanished completely.